Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 12th. Showers and thunderstorms associated with the monsoon moisture will continue today over the eastern half of the Great Basin, with more scattered thunderstorms up in Idaho. Most of these thunderstorms will be wet. However, in Idaho, we will see a mix of wet and dry storms. Relative humidity will be higher, but the heavier precipitation will be more spotty. On Saturday, we have drier air pushing into western side of Idaho and also continuing over western Nevada with lowering relative humidity, and it will push that monsoon moisture further to the east. And by Sunday, that moisture gets pushed further east and south with drier conditions across much of Idaho into northern and western Nevada. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen scattered thunderstorms across Idaho and also numerous thunderstorms into southern and eastern Nevada and many areas of Utah. These thunderstorms were on the wetter side. Again, we saw more widespread, heavier precipitation further south, but up in Idaho, we certainly had some pockets of wetting rain and some rainfall above a quarter of an inch. So again, especially in these heavier clusters of thunderstorms. Even this morning, we are seeing some lightning across parts of central Idaho. Over the last 24 hours, we only saw light initial attack across the Great Basin, with smaller fires reported across the area. Over the last 7 days, we've seen obviously heavier precipitation with the consistent monsoon moisture over much of Nevada, northern side of Utah, and then either into eastern Idaho and Wyoming. Still, some of the drier spots are parts of eastern Utah, which have been kind of largely left out of this deeper monsoon moisture, and then also parts of central Idaho, although some of those did get precipitation yesterday. ERCs have certainly been on the downward spiral really across many areas of Nevada and into Utah. Still, over eastern Utah, where we have that pocket of drier air, ERCs have actually been climbing and are now above normal and even approaching possibly the 80th percentile. However, we will see some moisture moving in, so even though these ERCs have come up, they should be on the downward trend yet again. Further north up into Idaho, ERCs have come down again with this most recent push of moisture. However, we will see that drier air moving in this weekend into early next week, so we will see our ERCs and fire danger continue to increase. 100-hour fuel moisture, again, lowest in areas that haven't had as much precipitation and still critical in many areas up north. The satellite loop from this morning shows an area of low pressure off the Pacific Northwest coast, which is responsible for really pushing that moisture further north up into Idaho. You can obviously see the stream of moisture over Utah into the eastern side of Idaho into Wyoming. This is certainly where the deeper moisture will be. Further west into central Idaho is where we again will see that mix of wet and dry storms with dry weather over western Nevada. For later this afternoon, a very similar picture to what we saw yesterday with respect to the moisture and the thunderstorms, and you can see the dry air in place over western Nevada. We have no high risk across the Great Basin. Again, these thunderstorms will continue to be a mix of wet and dry with higher humidity even over northern areas, and again, fire danger has come down a little bit with that moisture. The thunderstorms, again, for later this afternoon, very similar to what we saw yesterday. No real issues with gusty winds with the exception of gusty outflow winds. We will start to see the zephyr winds pick up along the Sierra front, but most gusts will be in the 20s. However, relative humidity really drops over western and northwest Nevada, with daytime humidity in the single digits to low teens. As we move into Saturday, that drier air pushes into southwest and central Idaho, pushing that monsoon moisture further to the east. No high risk again, however, we will see those gradual drying conditions up north. Thunderstorms will be pushed a little bit further east on Saturday, so we'll likely see those dry conditions in central Idaho, but still thunderstorm chances in southern and eastern Idaho into Wyoming, and obviously continuing further south. Wind gusts might pick up a little bit in southern Idaho with westerly wind gusts in the 20s, maybe upper 20s to right around 30 miles per hour in some spots. However, relative humidity still wouldn't have dropped as much, and we would have had recent moisture, so certainly no significant concerns. But as that dry air works in, we certainly have the potential for holdovers up in Idaho with the recent lightning. Relative humidity remains in the single digits over much of northwest Nevada on Saturday, and again drops back into the teens over parts of Idaho, especially over western and central Idaho. By Sunday, that drier air makes a little bit more of a push to the east, keeping those thunderstorms mainly into Wyoming and Utah. You can see that our significant fire potential map turns areas in central Idaho from yellow to brown again. As that drier air works in, we will see ERCs inch upwards and also fuel moistures tick downwards, and we could again continue to see holdovers over the weekend. Forecast thunderstorms mainly across eastern Nevada and Utah on Sunday. No real issues with winds. We'll even see the Zephyr winds kind of decrease a little bit on Sunday. Relative humidity remaining in the single digits to low teens across western and northwest Nevada, and then dropping again into the mid-teens across much of Idaho. So really just that risk of holdover through the weekend. 3-day amounts of precipitation. Obviously, the heaviest amounts of precipitation will be in areas of the higher terrain of Utah and up into Wyoming, where that deeper monsoon moisture is really solidly in place. On the fringes of that moisture, a little bit more spotty. As we move into Monday, moisture starts to work its way back further west, with still dry air remains in place over the northern half of the Great Basin. By Tuesday, we'll likely see a return of some lightning activity over towards the western side of Nevada and the Sierra Front, but again, still that dry air in place for Idaho. By Wednesday, moisture moves a little bit further north and west up towards western Nevada. And then by Thursday, we should see some thunderstorm activity at least across Nevada and Utah. We'll see if it makes its way north up into Idaho, but right now it's just looking like a period of drier and warmer weather. 7-day total precip, you can see that return of precipitation next week to parts of Nevada. Again, Idaho, much of that will be here in the next couple of days, and then we will see those drier conditions. The 8 to 14-day outlook from August 19th through the 25th shows still very warm conditions on the western side of the Great Basin, and that monsoon moisture still just taking hold of central and eastern areas of the basin. And again, Idaho, northwest and western Nevada still remaining on those fringes of moisture, so they'll see more drier days than they will see wetter days, but still some chances for lightning and also chance for new starts and possibly holdovers on those drier days. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.